In a quaint village nestled between rolling hills and vibrant fields, Lavinia Hartley tended to her small flower shop. The air was fragrant with the scent of blooming roses and lilacs, an oasis of color amid the mundane surroundings. Though her clothing was tattered and worn, Lavinia's spirit shone brightly. Her fingers deftly arranged a bouquet, each flower selected with care and intention, reflecting her vibrant personality despite the hardships she faced. Before we dive into today's story, I need to share something from my heart. If you believe the world needs more romance, more stories that make us sigh and dream, I need your help. I'm so close to reaching 1,000 subscribers, and each one of you is essential to this journey. Please subscribe, hit that bell, and help me prove that period romance still lives in our hearts. Together, we're stronger. Now, back to our story. As she worked, the sun poured through the shop's window, casting a warm golden light that danced across the petals, illuminating the small sanctuary she created from her passion. Lavinia often found solace in the flowers, their beauty providing her with a fleeting escape from the weight of her reality. She paused for a moment, her thoughts drifting back to a time long ago, a memory that stirred deep within her heart. It was 10 years since the Duke of Ashford had proposed to her. At that time, Lavinia had felt the weight of her family's financial struggles, a burden that overshadowed the affection she had for Sebastian. She remembered the way he had looked at her, his eyes filled with hope and sincerity, and yet she had turned him down. The thought still haunted her, an echo of what could have been. Choosing practicality over love had seemed wise then, but the years had taught her the price of such choices. "Good morning, Lavinia," a familiar voice called, pulling her from her reverie. It was Mrs. Pembroke, a kindly elderly woman and one of Lavinia's most loyal customers. The older woman entered the shop, her presence bringing warmth and comfort, much like the sun that bathed the room. "Good morning, Mrs. Pembroke. How may I assist you today?" Lavinia replied, her smile returning, brightening her features amidst the dullness of her attire. "I need something special for my daughter's wedding," Mrs. Pembroke said, her eyes twinkling with excitement. "She's always loved your arrangements." Lavinia's heart swelled with pride. "I would be honored to create the bouquet for such a joyous occasion. Do you have any particular flowers in mind?" As they discussed the details, Lavinia felt her worries dissipate. Each flower represented hope, love, and new beginnings, much like the feelings she had lost after her decision a decade ago. Yet, she often found herself questioning whether she had made the right choice, especially when she recalled Sebastian's face that day. After Mrs. Pembroke left with a promise to return later that week, Lavinia resumed her work, but the memories lingered. She had heard whispers about the Duke's return to the village, tales that sent ripples of unease through her heart. What if he had moved on? What if he had found someone deserving of his affection? The thought pierced her, but she quickly pushed it away, burying it under the flowers that surrounded her. As the day wore on, the shop filled with customers, each seeking the beauty that Lavinia crafted with her hands. She listened to their stories, shared in their joys and sorrows, all while her mind drifted back to that fateful day when she had said no. Each interaction reminded her that love was a delicate flower, one that could easily wilt if not cared for properly. Just as she was about to close the shop for the day, a letter slid through the crack of the door. It was elegantly sealed, the insignia unmistakable. Lavinia's heart raced as she recognized the crest of the Duke of Ashford. With trembling hands, she opened the letter, her breath hitching as she read the invitation to a grand dinner at the Duke's estate. Conflicted emotions surged within her. Excitement warred with fear, curiosity mingled with regret. Why had he chosen to invite her after all these years? Did he still harbor feelings for her? The questions swirled in her mind like the petals caught in a spring breeze, uncertain and free. She couldn't help but recall the way he had looked at her, the way his voice had trembled with emotion. As she processed the invitation, Lavinia recalled the last time she had seen him, how his expression had shifted from hope to disappointment when she had rejected his proposal. A part of her felt drawn to him still, perhaps it was the remnants of affection that never truly faded. But the other part screamed caution, reminding her of the reasons she had turned him away. "Should I go?" she whispered to herself, the question hanging in the air like the fragrance of her flowers. The thought of facing Sebastian again, of confronting the past she had tried so hard to forget, filled her with dread and anticipation. Before she could settle on an answer, a soft knock interrupted her thoughts. It was a young girl, Clara, her neighbor's daughter, with wide eyes and a bouquet of wildflowers clutched in her small hands. "Miss Lavinia, look. I picked these for you," she exclaimed, her excitement contagious. Lavinia knelt down, her heart warming at the sight. "They're beautiful, Clara. Thank you for bringing them to me." In that moment, she realized that life continued to move forward, and perhaps it was time for her to step out of the shadows of her past. Before we continue with Lavinia's story, if you're enjoying this tale of resilience and love, please hit that like button and subscribe. Now, let's see what happens next. As she stood there, the weight of the invitation still holding her captive, Lavinia felt a spark of determination ignite within her. The dinner was not just an invitation, it was a chance to confront her past and perhaps rewrite her future. With a deep breath, she resolved to attend, ready to face whatever awaited her at the Duke's estate. It was time to see if the flowers of their past could bloom once more. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting a warm, golden hue over the village of Ashford, Lavinia's heart raced with uncertainty. The letter she had received earlier sat heavily in her pocket, its elegant seal a stark reminder of the past she thought she had buried. An invitation to the Duke of Ashford's grand dinner was not merely a request for her presence, it was a summons to confront the choices that had altered the course of her life a decade ago. Lavinia tried to shake off the feelings that threatened to overwhelm her. The aroma of fresh blooms filled her tiny flower shop, a sanctuary where she found solace in the vibrant colors and delicate textures of her arrangements. Yet, as she arranged a bouquet of daisies and violets, her mind drifted back to that fateful day when she had turned down Sebastian's proposal. She remembered the way his eyes had shimmered with hope, contrasting sharply with the look of betrayal that had etched itself on his face when she had said no. "Miss Lavinia," a voice broke through her reverie. It was Mrs. Pembroke, her most loyal customer. "I need something special for my daughter's wedding," she said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "You always create the most beautiful arrangements." Lavinia smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "I would be honored to create the bouquet for such a joyous occasion. Do you have any particular flowers in mind?" As they discussed the details, Lavinia felt a momentary reprieve from her worries. Each flower represented hope, love, and new beginnings, much like the feelings she had lost after her decision to walk away from Sebastian. Yet, the whispers of the past still haunted her, especially as she recalled recent rumors about the Duke's return to the village. What if he had moved on? What if he had found someone deserving of his affection? The thought pierced her heart, but she quickly pushed it away, burying it under vibrant petals and fragrant greenery. The afternoon slipped away, and as the last customer left, Lavinia began to tidy up the shop. She felt a strange sense of anticipation, the invitation still clutched tightly in her hand. What could it mean? Did Sebastian still harbor feelings for her after all these years? The questions swirled in her mind like petals caught in a spring breeze, uncertain yet whimsical. Just then, a gentle knock at the door startled her. A young girl, Clara, her neighbor's daughter, stood there with wide, eager eyes and a bouquet of wildflowers in her small hands. "Miss Lavinia. Look. I picked these for you," she exclaimed, her excitement infectious. Lavinia knelt down, her heart warming at the sight. "They're beautiful, Clara. Thank you for bringing them to me." The simple gesture reminded her of the beauty in life, even amidst uncertainty. Perhaps it was time to step out of the shadows of her past. As the evening settled in, Lavinia made her way home, the invitation still weighing heavily on her mind. She sat at her modest dining table, the dim candlelight flickering as she opened the letter again. The elegant script read, "You are cordially invited to a dinner at my estate. Your presence would honor me greatly." But what did he want from her? Did he expect her to simply forget the hurt of years gone by? The rejection she had offered him had been rooted in her family's struggles, in her desire to protect him from the burden of her life. Yet, as she read the words again, a flicker of hope ignited within her. Maybe this dinner was not just a chance to face her past, but an opportunity to explore what could have been. As she prepared for bed that night, Lavinia felt a mix of apprehension and excitement. The decision loomed over her: should she attend the dinner and face Sebastian after all these years? The thought of seeing him again sent shivers down her spine. She recalled the last time they had spoken, the way his voice had trembled with emotion, the deep longing in his gaze. Before she could settle on an answer, sleep enveloped her, dreams of flowers and laughter intertwining with images of a tall, dark-haired man whose presence had once filled her heart with joy. The following day dawned bright and clear, the sun streaming through her window like a promise of new beginnings. Lavinia stood in front of her wardrobe, contemplating her attire. She wanted to look her best, yet she knew that no matter how she dressed, she would always feel like a girl in rags compared to the elegant guests who would attend the Duke's dinner. Casting aside her insecurities, she selected a simple but lovely gown, the fabric soft against her skin. As she looked at her reflection, she reminded herself that it was not her attire that mattered, but the courage within her heart. With determination, she made her way to the Duke's estate, her heart racing with each step. As she approached the grand entrance, she could feel the tension in the air, a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Lavinia could hardly believe that she was about to re-enter a world she had once felt so unworthy of, a world that had nearly swept her away. If this story is touching your heart, please share it with someone who loves tales of second chances. Turn on notifications so you never miss our next story. The moment she walked through the grand entrance of the Duke's estate, her breath caught in her throat. The opulence surrounding her was breathtaking, with chandeliers glistening overhead and laughter echoing from the elegantly dressed guests. As she stepped further inside, she felt a wave of anxiety wash over her. The realization that Sebastian, the Duke of Ashford, was the man she had rejected flooded her mind. Would he even recognize her? Did he remember the girl who had turned him away? With hope and fear intertwining, she took a deep breath, ready to face whatever awaited her that night. As Lavinia stepped through the grand entrance of the Duke's estate, her heart raced uncontrollably while a mixture of awe and anxiety washed over her. The opulence surrounding her was breathtaking, chandeliers sparkled like stars overhead, and laughter danced through the air like music, harmonizing with the soft strains of a string quartet playing in the background. She felt woefully out of place in her modest gown, the fabric soft but simple, causing her to feel like a wildflower lost among a garden of exotic blooms. As she entered the grand hall, her senses were overwhelmed by the sights and sounds of elegantly dressed guests mingling and exchanging pleasantries. The ladies adorned in luxurious fabrics, their laughter ringing like chimes, and the gentlemen, tall and distinguished, moved with an air of confidence that both intimidated and fascinated her. Lavinia took a deep breath, pushing back the wave of self-doubt that threatened to engulf her. She recalled the letter that had arrived just days before, inviting her to this extravagant affair. The Duke of Ashford had extended his hand, and here she was, a mere flower shop keeper, stepping into his world, a world she had once rejected. The memory of turning him away a decade ago danced in her mind, a bittersweet reminder of the choices she had made. As she stood there, trying to ground herself amidst the swirling emotions, a familiar voice cut through the chatter, sending a shiver down her spine. There she is. The one I've been eager to see. She turned slowly, her heart pounding as her gaze met that of Sebastian, the Duke of Ashford. He stood across the room, his presence commanding and magnetic, a tall figure in a tailored suit that emphasized his noble stature. Despite the years that had passed, he was still strikingly handsome, with dark hair that framed his face and deep-set eyes that seemed to hold a myriad of emotions. Lavinia's breath caught in her throat. Did he recognize her? Could he see the girl he had once loved, hidden beneath the layers of time and regret? She felt a rush of warmth flood her cheeks, a mixture of embarrassment and excitement. It was as if their past had come rushing back in a tide of memories, washing over her in a way that made it hard to breathe. Sebastian began to weave through the crowd, his eyes locked onto hers. Time seemed to slow as he approached, the laughter and music fading into the background until it felt like they were the only two people in the world. She could hardly believe that the man she had once rejected was now mere steps away from her, looking at her with an intensity that made her heart race. "Lavinia," he said, his voice smooth and inviting, yet laced with an underlying tension. "It's been too long." His words hung in the air between them, laden with unspoken feelings and history. She opened her mouth to respond, but the words caught in her throat. What could she say? Any attempt at casual banter felt trivial under the weight of their shared past. She stammered, unsure of how to bridge the gap of time and choices. "I didn't expect to see you here." "Neither did I," he replied, a wry smile tugging at his lips. "But I must admit, I hoped you would come. I wanted the chance to speak with you." Lavinia's heart fluttered at his words, igniting a spark of hope that she had buried deep within. "I received your invitation," she said softly, her eyes searching his face for any sign of the boy she once knew. "It was unexpected." Sebastian's gaze softened, the tension in his shoulders easing slightly. "I thought perhaps we could revisit old memories, share a dance or two, and perhaps clear the air between us." A dance? The idea sent her thoughts spiraling. Memories of their past flooded her mind, the carefree laughter, the dreams they once shared, and the moment she had pushed him away. Had he truly come to rekindle their connection after all these years? Was this a chance for forgiveness, or merely a bittersweet reminder of what could have been? As if sensing her hesitation, Sebastian stepped closer, his voice dropping to a gentle whisper. "I understand if you still harbor resentment, but I want you to know that I have never forgotten you. You were always more than just a fleeting moment in my life." Feeling the warmth of his gaze, Lavinia's heart swelled with conflicting emotions, regret, longing, and a flicker of hope. "I never meant to hurt you, Sebastian," she confessed, her voice trembling. "I only wanted to protect you from the burdens of my life." "Life has its burdens, Lavinia," he replied, "but love can lighten them. We are not defined by our past choices, but by what we dare to embrace in the present." Just then, the music shifted, and Lavinia found herself drawn into the rhythm, unable to resist the pull of the moment. "I would be honored to dance with you," she said, taking a step forward, her heart racing in anticipation. As they moved to the dance floor, she felt a sense of exhilaration wash over her, mixing with the apprehension that had clouded her earlier. The moment they stepped onto the floor, the world around them faded, leaving only the two of them in a swirling dance of emotions and memories. If this story is touching your heart, please share it with someone who loves tales of second chances. Turn on notifications so you never miss our next story. The music enveloped them, and as they began to sway, Lavinia felt the weight of her past slowly lifting. With each step, it became clearer that perhaps this dinner was not merely a chance to confront her past but an opportunity to reclaim a future she thought she had lost forever. As the music swelled around the grand ballroom, Lavinia felt a rush of emotions as she stood face to face with Sebastian, the Duke of Ashford. Their eyes locked, and in that moment, the world around them faded into a blur. It felt as if time had stopped, and all that existed was the palpable tension between them. The years of separation melted away, leaving behind only the echoes of their shared past. Sebastian took a step closer, his expression a mix of longing and uncertainty. "Lavinia," he began, his voice rich and warm, yet tinged with an edge of vulnerability. "Seeing you again, after all these years, it stirs a great many feelings within me." Lavinia's heart raced as she struggled to find her voice. Memories of their youthful innocence flooded her mind, moments filled with laughter, dreams, and the bittersweet pang of their last goodbye. "I didn't expect to see you here, Sebastian," she managed to say, her tone wavering. I thought you had forgotten." "Forget you?" "Never," he replied, his gaze unwavering. "You were the light in a rather dark time of my life. I wanted to reach out, but duty and circumstance kept us apart." There was a sincerity in his voice that resonated deeply within her, awakening feelings she had long buried. As they stood in the middle of the bustling ballroom, Lavinia felt the weight of their past pressing down on her. She had rejected him a decade ago, believing she was not worthy of his love. Her family's financial struggles had made her feel like a burden, and she had pushed him away to protect them both. Yet here he was, looking at her as if she still meant everything to him. "How have you been?" she asked, attempting to bridge the chasm of silence that had grown between them. Her heart fluttered nervously as she awaited his response. Sebastian's expression shifted, revealing a vulnerability she hadn't seen in years. "It's been a journey," he admitted. "Becoming the Duke was not as glorious as one might imagine. The weight of responsibility is heavy, and the expectations of society can be quite suffocating. But it's moments like this, seeing you again, that remind me why I endure it." His words struck a chord within her. Lavinia had often thought of him during the darkest moments of her own struggles, wondering if he had found happiness amidst his noble duties. "You always had such dreams, Sebastian. I remember the way you spoke of your aspirations, how you wanted to change the world." "I still do," he said, a flicker of passion igniting in his eyes. "But I realize now that my heart has always belonged to you. I have never stopped thinking about what might have been." A lump formed in Lavinia's throat as she struggled to process his confession. The warmth of their shared memories ignited a spark that she thought had long died, and for a moment, she allowed herself to imagine a different path, one where she had chosen love over fear. "Why did you come tonight?" she asked cautiously, unsure of what she wanted to hear. "Surely, you could have invited anyone to join you for dinner." Sebastian smiled gently, but there was a sadness in his eyes. "I wanted you to know that I haven't forgotten. I wanted the chance to see you, to prove that I'm still the same man who loved you then. I hoped we could revisit those dreams together." The sincerity of his words wrapped around her heart like a comforting embrace. Lavinia felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes as she struggled to hold back emotions that threatened to spill over. "I've missed you, Sebastian," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. As the music shifted, drawing them into the rhythm of the dance, Sebastian extended his hand toward her. "May I have this dance?" he asked with a charming smile, the kind that had once made her heart skip a beat. Lavinia hesitated for just a moment, her insecurities bubbling to the surface. She was just a flower shop owner dressed in rags while he was a duke, a man of society. But as she looked into his eyes, she saw the warmth and the invitation, a promise of acceptance and understanding. "Yes," she breathed, placing her hand in his. As they moved to the dance floor, the world around them transformed. The elegant guests faded into the background, and the only thing that mattered was the connection they shared. As they swayed together, Lavinia felt a sense of liberation wash over her. Each step unshackled her from the past, each twirl brought her closer to the present. Sebastian held her close, his touch gentle yet firm, guiding her through the intricate steps. "You have blossomed beautifully, Lavinia," he murmured, his breath warm against her ear. "You are as radiant as I remembered." The intimacy of the moment sent a shiver down her spine. She felt vulnerable yet cherished, and for the first time in years, hope began to blossom within her heart. "I never thought I would see you again, let alone dance with you," she confessed, the words tumbling from her lips with an honesty she couldn't contain. "Neither did I," he replied, his eyes twinkling with mischief. "But fate has a curious way of bringing us back to where we belong." Lavinia's heart swelled at his words, her spirit igniting with possibility. Maybe this was their moment, a chance to rewrite their story, to embrace the love that had never truly faded. As the music played on, she surrendered herself to the magic of the evening, knowing that whatever lay ahead, they would face it together. If this story is touching your heart, please share it with someone who loves tales of second chances. Turn on notifications so you never miss our next story. The dance continued, each movement a testament to the connection they had rekindled, the promise of a new beginning shimmering in the air around them. As the evening progressed, Lavinia found herself enveloped in a whirlwind of emotions. The music swirled around her, a melodic backdrop to the intimate moments she shared with Sebastian. They stood close, the warmth of his presence igniting a flicker of hope within her. Every glance exchanged, every laugh shared felt like a step taken toward rekindling the flame that had once burned brightly between them. As they danced, Lavinia couldn't help but notice how the world around them faded. The laughter and chatter of the guests blurred into an indistinct hum, leaving only the two of them, suspended in a moment that felt both surreal and achingly real. The Duke held her hand gently, guiding her with a confidence that made her heart race. "You've transformed beautifully," he murmured, his eyes sparkling with unspoken admiration. "It's as if the years melted away the doubts, revealing the woman I always knew was deep inside." His words wrapped around her like a soft embrace, and for the first time in a long while, Lavinia felt seen. Yet, as the warmth of his gaze enveloped her, a shadow of uncertainty crept into her heart. She remembered the past, the feelings of inadequacy, the weight of her family's struggles, and the very moment she had turned her back on him. The fear of repeating those past mistakes clawed at her insides. "Sebastian," she began hesitantly, "I've often wondered if I made the right choice 10 years ago. I was so afraid of what my life would become, and I pushed you away." Sebastian's expression shifted, revealing a vulnerability she hadn't seen in years. "It's been a journey," he admitted. "Becoming the Duke was not as glorious as one might imagine. The weight of responsibility is heavy, and the expectations of society can be quite suffocating. But it's moments like this, seeing you again, that remind me why I endure it." His words struck a chord within her. Lavinia had often thought of him during the darkest moments of her own struggles, wondering if he had found happiness amidst his noble duties. "You always had such dreams, Sebastian. I remember the way you spoke of your aspirations, how you wanted to change the world." "I still do," he said, a flicker of passion igniting in his eyes. "But I realize now that my heart has always belonged to you. I have never stopped thinking about what might have been." A lump formed in Lavinia's throat as she struggled to process his confession. The warmth of their shared memories ignited a spark that she thought had long died, and for a moment, she allowed herself to imagine a different path, one where she had chosen love over fear. "Why did you come tonight?" she asked cautiously, unsure of what she wanted to hear. "Surely, you could have invited anyone to join you for dinner." Sebastian smiled gently, but there was a sadness in his eyes. "I wanted you to know that I haven't forgotten. I wanted the chance to see you, to prove that I'm still the same man who loved you then. I hoped we could revisit those dreams together." The sincerity of his words wrapped around her heart like a comforting embrace. Lavinia felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes as she struggled to hold back emotions that threatened to spill over. "I've missed you, Sebastian," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. As the music shifted, drawing them into the rhythm of the dance, Sebastian extended his hand toward her. "May I have this dance?" he asked with a charming smile, the kind that had once made her heart skip a beat. Lavinia hesitated for just a moment, her insecurities bubbling to the surface. She was just a flower shop owner dressed in rags while he was a duke, a man of society. But as she looked into his eyes, she saw the warmth and the invitation, a promise of acceptance and understanding. "Yes," she breathed, placing her hand in his. As they moved to the dance floor, the world around them transformed. The elegant guests faded into the background, and the only thing that mattered was the connection they shared. As they swayed together, Lavinia felt a sense of liberation wash over her. Each step unshackled her from the past, each twirl brought her closer to the present. Sebastian held her close, his touch gentle yet firm, guiding her through the intricate steps. "You have blossomed beautifully, Lavinia," he murmured, his breath warm against her ear. "You are as radiant as I remembered." The intimacy of the moment sent a shiver down her spine. She felt vulnerable yet cherished, and for the first time in years, hope began to blossom within her heart. "I never thought I would see you again, let alone dance with you," she confessed, the words tumbling from her lips with an honesty she couldn't contain. "Neither did I," he replied, his eyes twinkling with mischief. "But fate has a curious way of bringing us back to where we belong." Lavinia's heart swelled at his words, her spirit igniting with possibility. Maybe this was their moment, a chance to rewrite their story, to embrace the love that had never truly faded. As the music played on, she surrendered herself to the magic of the evening, knowing that whatever lay ahead, they would face it together. If this story is touching your heart, please share it with someone who loves tales of second chances. Turn on notifications so you never miss our next story. The dance continued, each movement a testament to the connection they had rekindled, the promise of a new beginning shimmering in the air around them. As the evening progressed, Lavinia found herself lost in the moment, the world around her fading into a blur of music and laughter. The dance with Sebastian had rekindled feelings she thought long buried. With each spin and sway, they forged a connection that felt both familiar and exhilarating. Yet beneath the surface, a tempest brewed within her, a struggle between her heart and her mind. "Lavinia," Sebastian whispered, pulling her gently closer, "it's been a decade since we last spoke. I've thought of nothing but you during these years." His words sent a shiver down her spine, igniting memories of a time when dreams and hopes were woven into the fabric of their youth. "You were so ambitious, Sebastian. You had dreams of changing the world," she replied, her voice barely audible above the music. "I still do, but I realize that true happiness lies in love, not titles or responsibilities," he said, his eyes searching hers with an intensity that made her heart race. The warmth of his gaze enveloped her, and for a fleeting moment, Lavinia felt as if the weight of the world had been lifted. However, the nagging doubts crept back in. Could they truly bridge the chasm that had formed between them? Would societal expectations suffocate the love they had once shared? "I've changed, Sebastian," she confessed, her voice trembling. "I'm not the same girl who turned you away. Life has been challenging." With a gentle pressure, he took her hands in his. "We've both faced our battles. But it's in our struggles that we find strength, is it not? I want to fight for us, not just for my title or my estate." His sincerity pierced through her defenses, compelling her to confront her own fears. "What if I falter again? What if I am not enough for you?" "Lavinia," he said, his voice steady, "you are more than enough. You are the light in my life, the one I've always wanted by my side. Together, we can conquer anything." As they danced, the music shifted, an enchanting waltz that seemed to echo their own heartbeat, intertwined and resonating with unspoken promises. It was a moment suspended in time, where nothing else mattered but the two of them and the feelings that surged between them. Yet, as the dance continued, Lavinia felt the weight of her insecurities rear its head. "What will society say? What of the rags I wear?" she asked, a quiver in her voice. "You are a duke, and I am but a flower shop owner." Sebastian's expression softened, and he brushed a stray hair from her face. "I care not for the opinions of society. You are a woman of strength, resilience, and beauty. Your past does not define you, it shapes you into the remarkable person you are today." Tears welled in her eyes as his words washed over her like a soothing balm. She had spent years hiding behind her insecurities, convinced that her humble background would forever keep her from true happiness. But here, in the arms of the man she once loved, she felt the stirrings of hope. "I want this, Sebastian," she breathed, her heart racing. "But the fear of failure haunts me." "Then let's face that fear together," he replied, determination etched across his features. "I'm not asking you to be someone you're not. I love you for who you are, Lavinia. Let's build a future where we can both thrive." As the dance came to an end, Lavinia couldn't help but feel transformed. She had stepped into the ballroom a woman burdened by fear and uncertainty, but now she stood empowered, ready to confront whatever the future held. If this story is touching your heart, please share it with someone who loves tales of second chances. Turn on notifications so you never miss our next story. The music faded, and the applause of the guests filled the air. Lavinia and Sebastian stood at the center of attention, their connection palpable to everyone around them. For the first time that evening, she felt not the weight of judgment but the warmth of acceptance. As the crowd began to disperse, Lavinia looked up at Sebastian, her heart swelling with gratitude. "Thank you for believing in me, for seeing past my rags and imperfections. Thank you for giving me another chance, he replied, his voice tender. I promise to never take it for granted. In that moment, Lavinia realized that love was not merely a fairy tale, it was a journey, one that required vulnerability and bravery. Together, they could navigate the complexities of their world, hand in hand. As they stepped out onto the balcony, the cool night air enveloped them, and the stars twinkled like diamonds scattered across the velvet sky. It was a reminder that amidst the chaos of life, beauty existed. Lavinia gazed up at the stars, feeling a sense of belonging she had longed for. Maybe, just maybe, they could create a love story that defied the odds, a tale of resilience, hope, and the power of second chances. With her heart open and her spirit renewed, she took a deep breath, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead, knowing that they would face it together as partners in love and life. As the evening drew to a close, Lavinia and Sebastian found themselves standing hand in hand, a quiet understanding passing between them. The tumult of emotions that had surged throughout the night had settled into a warm glow of hope. They stepped outside onto the balcony, the cool night air whispering around them, carrying with it the sweet scent of blooming jasmine from the gardens below. It was a moment of respite, a brief escape from the expectations of society and the pressures of their pasts. Do you see the stars, Lavinia? Sebastian asked, tilting his head upward as he pointed towards the vast expanse above. Each one is a dream waiting to be realized, just like the one we've shared tonight. Lavinia followed his gaze, marveling at the twinkling lights that sparkled like diamonds scattered across the velvet sky. They are beautiful, she replied softly. But I can't help but feel that we still have so much to overcome. Every journey has its challenges, he said, turning to face her, his expression earnest. But it's the ones we face together that truly matter. You've shown me a strength I had forgotten existed in myself. Together, we can forge a path that defies the odds. His words resonated deeply within her, echoing the sentiments she had long buried. Lavinia took a moment to process the gravity of their situation. She had spent years fearing the very things that now seemed surmountable with Sebastian by her side. What if society never accepts us, she asked, the vulnerability in her voice palpable. What if I am seen only as the flower shop owner in rags, unworthy of your title? Let them say what they will, Sebastian replied, a fire igniting in his eyes. I care not for their approval. What matters is the love we share and the commitment we are willing to fight for. You are more than your past, Lavinia. You are the woman who has captured my heart, and I will not let anything stand in the way of that. As the words hung in the air, Lavinia felt a warmth spread through her chest, dispelling the lingering shadows of self-doubt. She had spent so long feeling inadequate, yet here was a man willing to challenge the very foundations of society for her. It was a humbling thought, one that made her heart race with both excitement and fear. Sebastian, she began, hesitating slightly, her eyes searching his. What if I do not meet your expectations? What if I disappoint you again? He stepped closer, taking her hands firmly in his. You will never disappoint me. I believe in you, Lavinia. You have already shown courage by coming here tonight. You've faced your past and chosen to embrace your future. That is more than enough. In that moment, Lavinia understood the depth of his feelings. She realized that love was not just about perfect circumstances or societal approval, it was about acceptance, vulnerability, and the willingness to face the world together. She had fought her battles alone for far too long, and now, with Sebastian, she felt a newfound sense of strength. I want this, Sebastian, she confessed, her voice steady. I want us, no matter the obstacles. I want to create a future together, one that reflects who we truly are. A smile broke across his face, illuminating the darkness around them. Then let us begin right now, he said, pulling her closer. No more hiding, no more rags. Let us show the world the love we share and the dreams we have yet to fulfill. With that, they turned to face the grand estate behind them, a symbol of their journey ahead. The laughter and music from the dinner party faded into the background as they stepped back inside, ready to face whatever challenges awaited them. The ballroom, filled with elegantly dressed guests, felt different now. It was a space of opportunity, a canvas on which they would paint their future. As they re-entered the room, Lavinia felt a surge of confidence. She held her head high, her heart pounding with excitement. She was not just the flower shop owner in rags anymore, she was Lavinia, the woman who had captured the heart of the Duke of Ashford. Laughter erupted around them, and the guests began to notice the newfound energy in the air. Lavinia and Sebastian exchanged glances filled with unspoken promises, their connection stronger than ever. It was as if the very atmosphere had shifted, welcoming them into a new chapter of their lives. The night continued, filled with dancing and celebration, but for Lavinia, it was no longer just about the opulence of the event. It was about the love that had blossomed in the unlikeliest of places, and the future they were about to embark on together. As the evening began to wind down, Sebastian leaned down to whisper in her ear, "Thank you for trusting me, Lavinia. I promise to cherish every moment we have together." Tears of joy welled in her eyes as she nodded, overwhelmed by the depth of his sincerity. "And thank you for believing in me," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "I have never felt so alive. Thank you for staying with us until the very end." If this story made you smile or believe in second chances, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below. At the end of this video, you'll see another beautiful story. Until next time, thank you for being here. As they stepped out into the moonlit gardens, hand in hand, Lavinia felt a sense of peace wash over her. The path ahead was uncertain, but with Sebastian by her side, she was ready to embrace whatever came next. Together, they would navigate the complexities of their world, and together, they would write their own love story, a tale of resilience, hope, and the undeniable power of second chances.